Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers were on the field for practice earlier today for the final time before they leave for New York tomorrow. Green Bay going to be looking to snap a two-game losing streak, a stretch of games where they scored just 20 points while the defense allowed just 26. But defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley knows the ebbs and flows of a season, especially seeing as his unit has recovered from giving up 40 last month. That means he still believes in Coach Matt LaFleur and the offense.
I got confidence that our offense is going to go out, and this is no disrespect to the Giants, but we're going to score a lot of points. I mean, that's one of the best head coaches in all of the NFL and one of the best play callers who I still hate going against in 2 minutes like we do today because he's really hard to defend. And they're going to get going. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about what we did against the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense. So we're going to be okay.
Again, it'll be the Packers and Giants on Sunday at MetLife Stadium. Green Bay favored by 7.5. Kick is set for noon. Turning to the Badgers, they will be at Indiana tomorrow to face the number 2 Hoosiers. Wisconsin coming off its first Big Ten win in more than a year over Washington. Carter Smith played most of that one at quarterback. Could be in line to become the first true freshman to start a game for Wisconsin since 1991. Kick is at 11.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As a proud sponsor of the WIAA, Rural Mutual roots for all of Wisconsin's student athletes. Whether they're a hometown hero or they dream of the national spotlight, sportsmanship keeps Wisconsin strong. Visit ruralmutual.com/WIAA to learn more about how they support high school athletics.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs return home tonight to face the Hornets at Fiserv Forum. The two teams faced off in Charlotte on Wednesday, with the Hornets coming out on top, and Wisconsin getting the weekend off before they face SIUE at the Kohl Center on Monday night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, print.
Stay in the course, and you got to try to block everything out and really focus on you. And there's as much mindset and mentality to this as anything, and then I think the confidence comes from knowing you put in the work, and that's what our guys have handled this week, and that's what we've done. And so ultimately, like I said before, we got to go out and do it.
We're very capable of winning this game, beating ourselves in fundamentals and technique. And once we do that, we're going to be a really good team. For right now, we just got to get back to the basics. The way we just play, we're going to win a lot of football games.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
That's Matt LaFleur earlier this afternoon in his presser. And then that same comment from Micah Parsons. That was in last night's intro as well. I believe the question was from Bill Huber asking Matt LaFleur, you dug out of a hole in 2022 in Aaron Rodgers last year. I can't remember what their record bottomed out at, but then they turned it around and they went on that run and they made the playoffs after beating the Lions at home in week 18. They did turn it around and for all intents and purposes had a shot to make the playoffs, and then they just blew it. And then the next year in Jordan Love's first year as a starter, they started 3-6. That I can remember. And then they turned it around and we're a couple plays away from the conference championship game. So Matt LaFleur has experience digging out of an early season hole. I saw some people tweeting about this today where it's like, well, why is Matt LaFleur constantly in these holes? Why does he? Well, I wouldn't say he often has been. I think those 2 seasons, specifically 2023, were unique circumstances. It was a first-time starter. So if Jordan Love's a starting quarterback in the NFL for the first time, it stands to reason that they would start slower than they would finish. So I don't necessarily hold that against Matt LaFleur. 2022, I'm not sure. Aaron Rodgers last year, Devontae Adams had just departed. But 2 instances of Matt LaFleur coached teams struggling and then in the middle of the year finding a way to pick it up and turning it around. Luckily, in 2025, they're not 3-6, or they're not, whatever they were with Aaron Rodgers at the time. They're 5-3-1, which is disappointing, but still with everything right in front of them and with all these division games in the back half of the schedule, very much in control of their own destiny as well. So that's what I want to start with tonight. This is the Wisco Sports Show. Fins up. It's Friday. Thank you for being here. Ryan Wood going to be here. PackersNews.com, the USA Today network. He's going to be here in segment number 2. So I'll be pretty brief with my opening remarks. The big meat and potatoes topic that I have for today, I'm actually going to save for 5 o'clock. Because I got a juicy thing. Mike Clemens kind of dropped a bomb at the end of last night's show. Not like breaking news or, nothing like that. But I just thought he made an awesome point. And then the show was done. So we basically had to just leave it there. So I want to pick that up at 5 o'clock so we have some more runway to discuss together. because Ryan Wood's coming up here in just a little bit. But the live stream is up and running. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can follow me at Wisco Grant and that Wisco Sports Zone app. I was listening to Thorson and Heilprin on my drive home last night on that app. Cone Roller wasn't lying. The CarPlay feature, if you're driving home and you're using the app and you have a car that's old enough. I didn't until last year. Kai's Chevytown hooked me up with this Malibu, but I was, I was the Bluetooth radio receiver or the cassette deck, for a long time. CarPlay is pretty nice. And the Wisco Sports Zone app, really, really slick. You can select from all the stations and the podcasts. It's all right there. It's really handy. So again, would recommend downloading it. I hear this a lot with the Packers. Self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted mistakes. Self-inflicted mistakes. This team beating themselves. I hear that so much, right? And I had to jump in during Bill's show today because somebody called or texted and we were talking about these self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted mistakes. And I just had to jump in and I turned the mic and I said, all right, I know it's semantics. I know it's just wording. I know it probably doesn't matter, but I would just like to jump in and say a self-inflicted mistake is just a mistake. I don't think there's no such thing as a self-inflicted mistake. Did you make a mistake or not? I think the word self-inflicted or self-imposed or that lightens it. That makes it seem like it's more correctable. That makes it seem like it's lesser and it's not as bad. When you line up incorrectly and cover up the tight end and bring back the biggest play of the game, as Bo Melton did on that Christian Watson reception, that's just a mistake. That's not a self-inflicted mistake. That's not a self-inflicted wound. That's just a mistake. That's a player not executing in an important moment. When a player drops a pass on third or fourth down that hits them right in the hands, or in the case of poor Bo Melton, right in the chest, that's not a self-inflicted mistake. Not a self-inflicted. That's just a mistake. That's what that is. You're not doing your job. And I think Packers fans, all of last year, and so far through the majority of this season, probably post week 1 and week 2, we keep talking, this team beats itself. They self-inflicted mistakes, self-inflicted wounds. They're not self-inflicted mistakes. They're just mistakes. And they don't beat themselves. They just lose. They're not winning. You're not beating yourself. You're just losing. And at a certain point, I'm going to stop waiting and expecting and hoping for this team to stop making those mistakes, because I've seen no evidence so far that this coaching staff and this collection of players is capable of fixing it. All of last year, we saw so many times, week after week after week, well, if they just cut out the drops, and if they just cut out the procedural penalties, and they just cut out the special teams mistakes, well, they'll be a great team. Well, the thing is, in order to be a great team, you need to not do all that stuff. So at a certain point, you're not a team that beats itself. You're just a team that loses, right? And then this year started, and I kind of expected to see an older, more mature team. I expected a Matt LaFleur that kind of corrected some of the shortcomings that he had last year. I said all offseason, I thought Matt LaFleur regressed last year. I thought he had a down year, but that can happen. Ask people who have watched Andy Reid coach forever, or Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh coach forever. These coaches who have been established for 6-7 years or longer, which is actually, very few. The NFL, there's so much turnover. It's the league with, less patience with coaches, maybe other than the NBA, because that league fires coaches, every other month, even if the team's good. If the players don't like the coach, they don't like how the coach looks at him or something. I mean, that guy's gone. But there's not a lot of patience in the NFL, so these coaches don't stick around very long. But when we're talking about coaches who make multiple coordinator hires, as Matt LaFleur has done, or now we're seeing Dan Campbell do that for the first time, or with the Steelers, like we talked about the offensive coordinators, whether it's Todd Haley, I remember all that with Ben Roethlisberger and all that drama. And now it's Arthur Smith, and they go through, and I can't remember the guy who was with Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada, right? Coaches have up and down years, just like players, if they're around long enough, right? They're going to have great years. They're going to have fine years. They're going to have bad years. They're just like players in that regard. General managers do. I thought Matt LaFleur regressed last year. He had a bad year. Some new personnel. Jordan Love was injured, which probably threw a wrench into the wheel of the way they wanted to run things. He really struggled on fourth down. Some of that can be luck, too. If you select to go for it on this fourth down and your team doesn't pick it up, well, we're going to look at that as a mistake. Should have taken the point. So some of that is, out of the coach's control. But I thought Matt LaFleur in a lot of regards last year just regressed. And coming into this year, I thought, well, the team will be a year older, more experienced. More of these mistakes will disappear. That should be left in 2024, 2025. And Matt LaFleur as a coach, who I believe is really good, will bounce back, and a lot of those mistakes will be left behind. And we just haven't seen it. We just haven't seen it. So now we're a year and a half in with this collection of Packers players, and we're seeing a lot of the same things. And I just don't know why week to week we should be sitting here saying, okay, Sunday is the week that they're going to fix all these things. What evidence do we have? I was listening to Adam Stenavich speak, and he was asked about the problems along the Packers offensive line, specifically in the running game. Mike Clemens brought this cut to Bill's show earlier today. And I bookmarked it and I circled it because it kind of hints more at this idea of not self-inflicted wounds or self-imposed errors or self-inflicted errors, self-imposed mistakes. They're just errors. They're just mistakes. So here's Adam Stenavich talking about the problems with the Packers offensive line, specifically in the running game or lack thereof.
Anytime, you get these guys playing offensive line, it's just one of those things that you always have to focus on is just keeping your pads under the defender. It's not a very natural position to be in, and it takes focus, and guys just need to always, as you're playing, keep constantly thinking about keeping my pads down, keeping a great base, keeping my hands inside, all those basic fundamentals that, it's just like on defense. Oh, our tackling was poor. Why was our tackling poor today? Because we had bad fundamentals. It's just kind of the same thing on offense with pad level as well, where you just really need to harp on it because it's not an easy thing to just go out there and do.
So the biggest issues that have plagued the Packers offense, I think a lot of Packers fans would say over these last years, drops, pre-snap penalties, alignment issues. We saw that on Sunday or Monday night. Those are focus things. Those are details, right? Now, when Adam Stenavich talks about the struggles of the O-line, I kind of expected to hear, well, we've had a lot of injuries and we've had guys playing out of position. And he's not going to say this, but I also think that some of these guys just aren't all that good. That's what I thought his answer would be. Obviously, he probably can't say the last part. But instead, what does he say? Well, it's a focus thing. It's pad level. It's spacing. It's our base. It's focus. It's fundamentals. It's the little things. So now I'm hearing that the issues on the O-line, according to the offensive coordinator who has an offensive line background, it's not talent. It's not injuries. It's not guys playing out of position. It's not quality of player, although deep down I still think that that's part of it. It's focus. It's fundamental. One more time, that first part of the answer.
Anytime, you get these guys playing offensive line, it's just one of those things that you always have to focus on is just keeping your pads under the defender. It's not a very natural position to be in, and it takes focus. And guys just need to always, as you're playing, keep constantly thinking about keeping my pads down, keeping a great base, keeping my hands inside.
Fundamentals.
All those basic fundamentals.
Fundamentals. So it's focus and fundamentals and the little things. I just think the more you look at this team and all the issues that they have, and most of them are concentrated on offense, I think you can trace all of these shortcomings back to some sort of an issue on focus, on execution, on concentration, and on fundamentals. And that's pretty concerning, don't you think? It should be concerning, especially considering it was the issue all of last season, and really post-Commanders game this year, it's been the issue all of this season. And I don't know if that's on the head coach. We'll talk to Ryan Wood about that. That's the first question I want to ask, because Ryan Wood, I played you that question and answer the other day where Ryan Wood said, well, aren't you teaching guys this stuff? Isn't it the job of the coaching staff to be dealing with these issues? That's where we'll begin on the other side of this break with Ryan. Like that eventually falls on coaches, right? And it's been a season and a half, and I haven't really seen any evidence to show that, okay, Matt LaFleur knows which buttons to push Monday through Friday to get this stuff fixed and buttoned up. And then even go lower, the positional coaches or the coordinators, I know Adam Stenavich is a coordinator, but I think of him more as an assistant because Matt LaFleur is the head coach and the play caller. So he is really, I guess, in spirit, the offensive coordinator, even though Adam Stenavich holds that title. Whether it's LaFleur or Stenavich or Butkus on the O-line, or is it Jason Vrabel, who coaches the wide receivers, I believe? Like, what evidence or what belief should we have over the last season and a half that they know how to fix this stuff? Because if they did, don't you think it would have been fixed by now? And I thought just a year of growth would go a long way in fixing this. I thought another year for Wicks, another year for Reed. I thought that was a big part of the story last year. We expected too much too fast with Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. You tell me, well, Grant, Jaden Reed was hurt. Yeah, he is hurt, but in the first 2 weeks, he dropped a couple of passes too, including some of Jordan Love's best throws that he made in those first 2 games. I don't know. It's just everywhere I turn, any issue that the Packers face is somehow related to details, fundamentals, focus, and that's concerning, given that I haven't seen any evidence, and we would have no reason to believe over the last season and a half that any of these coaches, top to bottom, know how to fix this stuff or have shown that they can fix it. So that's where we will begin with Ryan Wood on the other side of this break, PackersNews.com. He joins us every Friday. Thanks to Lacrosse Beer House, the corner of 3rd and Pearl in downtown La Crosse. It's beautiful today. It's beautiful tomorrow. They might even have the big windows open down there. So if you want to have a little Saturday fun day, go out and enjoy the sun and the weather, and you're walking around downtown, please stop into the beer house tomorrow, get a big mug of authentic German beer, or the brats. They're sourced from right down the way, Bubba's Meats on the southish side of town, or you can get one of the big pretzels. It's just a perfect home base if you're kicking around downtown. So please support them as a thank you for helping out the show and sending us to spring training or the Super Bowl, or allowing Ryan Wood to join us every Friday. He's a great resource. And I want to start on the other side of this break where we started the show. Little details, little mistakes, fundamentals, focus. Tell me why I should think that it's going to get fixed, because we've been doing this now a year and a half. We'll talk about that and a whole bunch of other things related to the Packers with Ryan Wood coming up next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Those are things that are taught, right? Don't cover up the tight end, the snap count. Those are messages that you give to the players? Is it just not getting through, or why do you think that you continue to see that?
Well, I think there was two instances, right? And I would put the one, put the first one on myself on when Kennard was in there at tight end, a position he hasn't been, very often. And then the other one is in 2-minute, and that's where we have to have guys that are clearly communicating with one another. I mean, I think we have enough experience where that should not happen.
That's from Matt LaFleur's presser Wednesday, I believe. And I clipped that when I listened to it the first time because I thought Ryan Wood, who's now going to join us, thanks to Lacrosse Beer House, corner of 3rd and Pearl, I thought that question really got at the heart of the matter, and that question drives at, I think, what fans have been asking, probably going back to last season, and I'll bring Ryan in. I think fans want to know, Ryan, well, focus, fundamentals, little mistakes. Isn't that a reflection of coaching at the end of the day, and isn't that on the coaches to handle it? And I think that's what you were kind of getting at. So talk about the wording behind that question, and then eventually LaFleur's answer, and that's what was in your story this week.
Yeah, well, it started from a genesis of there's a lot going wrong on this Packers offense. For you to have 20 points over 8 days and 2 home games, there's a lot. It's not one or two. It's a lot of things. So where do you begin to fix that? And to me, I think the obvious answer is the self-inflicted stuff. And frankly, from Matt LaFleur on down, the players in the locker room, everyone's kind of said that themselves, that details, stop killing yourselves in drives with just pre-snap penalties and all those things. So that's established. We know that. That's a problem. But there's a difference between the what and the how, right? Okay, we know the what. The what is that they have way too many self-inflicted errors. My mind's always more geared to how is this happening? Why is this happening? It's very interesting. You go back Monday night, they have 3 just critical pre-snap issues. False start on Aaron Banks, 4th and 1, when Jordan Love gets the first down on the sneak. 2 illegal formations in the 4th quarter. The first wipes out a 22-yard catch for Christian Watson. They finally get in the red zone first time, have momentum. They only trail 3-0, and nope, it's going back 5 yards. And then among the litany of things that were wrong on that 4th and 1, where Jomo, the Eagles defensive tackle, says inside zone this way, is that same way Dontavian Wicks is on the line of scrimmage covering Luke Musgrave. It wouldn't have mattered even if Josh Jacobs didn't get stuff. So those are the what, how, why. And you heard there, Matt LaFleur said the first one, the Darian Kennard illegal formation he puts on himself. What he didn't say, what Darian Kennard told me in the locker room is, he found out a week ago, early last week, that for the first time in his life, he was going to play tight end in the jumbo package. He'd never done it before. And when he found that out, the coaches gave him exact plays to learn that week to be ready to line up in for the game against the Eagles. And that was one of the plays, that crosser to Christian Watson. But when they practiced it during the week, it was in a different formation that had Darian Kennard on the line of scrimmage because Bo Melton was off the line of scrimmage. The terminology sent in before that play had Bo Melton on the line of scrimmage, just flexed to Darian Kennard's left, which meant Darian Kennard had to be off the line of scrimmage. And at that point, you are asking a lifelong tackle who has played every snap of his life on the line of scrimmage to, without practicing it, know to back up a yard. So that's why Matt LaFleur said that's on him, and that's fair. You need to practice the plays that you're putting guys in unusual positions for the first time to play. You need to practice those plays. As far as the Dontavian Wicks, they were in hurry-up mode. They were trying to catch the Eagles off guard, going as fast as possible. Dontavian Wicks told me that it's one of those things early in games, receivers will look to the side judge, hey, this good, this 1 yard off the line of scrimmage, yes, okay, and you'll just assume that if you continue lining up there, that it's good, because you were told that. It's late in the game now, 90 seconds left. He had an ass. He doesn't have time to look at the side judge and say, because they're trying to snap the ball as quickly as possible, and he was in the wrong spot. That's a 5-yard penalty. If they can just get rid of those things, it doesn't fix everything else, but it's the place to start, because those are 3 critical plays that you just never even gave yourself a chance to convert.
Well, and the frustrating part is it's somebody different every time. Like, especially on the O-line, if you could isolate, like, hey, we're pretty good, but our left tackle's struggling. Okay, well, you can scheme around that. You can, try to mitigate that the best you can. It seems like it's somebody different every single time. My sports radio ears went up at the last comment that Matt LaFleur made in that cut, and I'll play it one more time here.
I think we have enough experience where that should not happen.
Is that part of Matt LaFleur saying, look, I need to be a little bit better, but good Lord, these guys have played a lot of football. At a certain point, I can't go out there and catch the ball and do these things for them. Is that Matt LaFleur going, well, yeah, a couple of these things I need to be better at, but I just need my guys to just go out there and do it.
Not only is it other people each time, think about those 3 plays. Each one of those procedural penalties are for entirely different reasons than the others.
Yeah.
The Aaron Banks, he thought that it was a quick count. It wasn't a quick count. He knows it's a sneak, 4th and 1. He's trying to anticipate the snap, and it's not a quick count. He goes on the quick count. That's a focus issue. He was not focused in that moment to the level that he needed to be. He's an NFL veteran. He said after the locker room, rightly so, took accountability, said, that's on me. I had a bad moment. It's a focus issue. The one that you can absolutely put on Matt LaFleur is the Darian Kennard illegal formation, being on the line of scrimmage when he's supposed to be a yard off, not practicing the formation that you run in the game. That's asking for trouble there. And then the last one, I think it's circumstantial, right? You are trying to go as fast as you can. You think you're in the right spot. You're not in the right spot. Dontavian Wicks can also get some help there in that moment. I don't just mean by the official. Jordan Love can notice, hey, back up. You see quarterbacks all the time tell the receivers you're not in the right spot. Someone from the sideline, a coach. I know they're going quick, but you can call a timeout. They had 2 timeouts to burn. Someone can see Dontavian Wicks is not in the right spot. Yeah. Call a timeout. Maybe set up for that 4th and 1, knowing that it doesn't matter anyway. It's an illegal formation. All 3 of those are different reasons. It's not even the same reason for any of those 3.
You watched Aaron Rodgers run the 2-minute for a long time with great success. I know people are mad at Matt LaFleur. What have you seen from Jordan Love in these moments, whether it's the Cowboys game, the Eagles game the other night, the Browns? What more does he need to be doing? Because he's the trigger man on the line of scrimmage. And when things get sped up and there's urgency and you're rushed, Matt LaFleur can't call in everything and hold his hand the whole time. What is lacking with Jordan Love, the quarterback, in some of these situations, to your perspective at least?
Yeah, I asked Jordan Love point blank this week, does getting guys lined up in the right spots, does that fall under your purview as a quarterback? It's like, yeah, I'm the quarterback. Everything falls under my purview. And so for sure, he plays a part of this. You can, I get how it happens because you're going quick. I'm talking about the Dontavian Wicks illegal formation. I get how that happens. That's very real. You're trying to go as fast as you can. And you know, what John Wooden always say, be quick, don't hurry. When you hurry, you're going to make mistakes, right? So that's how that happens. But Jordan Love knows the offense inside and out. It's his 6th season in this offense. He can know, okay, that's not the right spot. Back up. Darian Kennard, take a yard off the line of scrimmage here. So, yeah, I mean, those things happen for everyone, but I think it's fair to say that with Aaron Rodgers, that was one of the things he was especially strong in, was conducting and orchestrating an offense.
Interesting. And that comes with time. I guess that's been a real shortcoming of theirs this year for sure. Ryan Wood is here. He's on Twitter @by Ryan Wood. So Elton Jenkins is probably done for the rest of the year. How do you think he did as a center in the half a season that he played there?
I haven't watched the film enough to really give you a granular answer on that, but on the macro, I think it's safe to say that the transition to center did not go the way the Packers expected, because I think Brian Gutekunst fully expected that would be a significant upgrade at that position that would really lift the entire offensive line as a whole when you go from Josh Myers to Elton Jenkins, and it did not. This offensive line was not lifted by that transition at all. I'm very, very intrigued to see how Sean Ryan does at center.
Same.
There's parts of the job that are going to be not quite foreign to him, but things that he hasn't he's not all that well versed in terms of, you're a center, you're in charge of the communication pre-snap, you got to relay that. You're the quarterback of the offensive line in a lot of ways. That's going to be new for him. He's practiced it. Adam Sinovich said that he's been the backup center, so he's done this in practice, but it's different doing it full time in a game week after week after week. We'll see how that goes. But the area that is really fascinating to me is the number one thing this offensive line needs anywhere at any position is just more strength in the run game, the run blocking game, interior. And that's what Sean Ryan does. He's going to give up some things as a pass protector. That's not the strength of his game. Certainly not the same pass protector as Elton Jenkins. But is he a better run blocker right now? I think quite possibly at the center position. He might be their best interior run blocker. I'm curious to see how that looks. Certainly, this is a good week for that to look pretty good because the Giants are a terrible run defense. 5.5 yards allowed per carry, tied for dead last in the league. They're allowing 151.2 yards per game, 31st in the league. If you can't run it this week, I don't know when they're going to be able to run it, Grant. And this is an offense that does need to run the ball better.
I'm glad that you're interested in what Sean Ryan's going to look like because this is something I was thinking the other day. I don't remember when this was, but Sean Ryan basically admitted to you guys this is his last year in Green Bay. Like, he was pretty open about that at a certain time, right? Like, it's clear Jordan Morgan's going to be their guy. I'm rotating. It seemed like he kind of knew the writing was on the wall. And I wonder if this changes his outlook just a little bit to think, oh, well, if I play center at a really high level, maybe I can play my way into a contract with this team. Maybe this gives him a new lease on life as a player on this line. Maybe that's not a thing, but that's just something that I was thinking about, and that intrigues me. That's maybe more on the human side, but maybe that gets him to play his best ball as well.
I don't think there's any question that these final 8 games are an addition for Sean Ryan to be the Packers starting center in 2026.
Because they have,
it's a big
they can't let everybody go at the end of this year. They're going to need to retain 1 or 2 of these guys. There's so many free agents to be.
I think it's a big opportunity for him. And if he shows that, if Sean Ryan becomes the stabilizing force for the Packers run blocking scheme, then yeah, how do you walk away from the guy at that point? And he is a very good run blocker. I'm very intrigued to see how it goes.
Lastly, how badly do you think they need Matthew Golden back on Sunday?
I think they need everyone back. I don't. At this point, let's be honest. This is a passing game that's not going to be built around one person. It took weeks too long for them to realize that it needed to be built around Tucker Kraft. It's not going to be built around one person. What it needs to be is just more efficient. There were drops Monday night against the Eagles. That hadn't been much of an issue this year, certainly not like last year, but that was prevalent. They at some point they do need to focus on their primary matchups. My point, I don't care how good you think Romeo Doubs is, and certainly he's an NFL caliber receiver. Certainly Jordan Love has a lot of security and confidence in him. He's a security blanket for the quarterback. If he's covered by Quinyon Mitchell, that's not a favorable matchup. Why you keep doing it? Mm-hmm. Don't go there. Find somewhere else. At some point, those type of common sense things need to prevail. So, Matthew Golden, yes, they need him to be a bigger part of this offense. They also need Christian Watson to have more than 4 targets in a game. He's their best receiver right now. He's been their best receiver the last 3 weeks since coming back from the torn ACL. Like, it's just all hands on deck.
And anything that we can watch for between now and Sunday and your coverage on Sunday, obviously, I know you have a story up about the Packers' mistakes, but anything else we can find as we wait for Sunday's game and your game story?
Yeah, just wall-to-wall coverage on PackersNews.com. Be fun little time in the Big Apple, and we'll see. Yeah, do you buy the whole? I know I asked Bill earlier today. Do you buy the whole must-win game? Is this a must-win game to you, Grant?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably their easiest game remaining on the schedule. And when you hear players say, that's what worries me, Ryan, is when Xavier McKinney says, this is a must-win game. It's hard then to lose this game and to come out on the other side and be like, no, we're okay, we're fine. When you so clearly established the terms before, you know what I mean? You can't go back on that.
Yeah, once you say it's a must-win game, if you don't win that game, you can't be like, psych, just kidding.
Yeah.
That was not a must-win. Yeah, so the reason it's in my head this week because it falls under the definition of what I would, in general terms, describe as a must-win game, because a must-win game is you must win or else.
Yeah.
The season's over. And the season's not over if they lose this game. So, no, that's not a must-win game. But it feels like the closest thing you can get to that without it maybe by definition being a must-win game. So, I think it's really – I'm curious how they come out in this one. And it's a week where they really need to take advantage of the schedule. I understand that, okay, the interim head coach bump and Jameis Winston's going to rip it everywhere. Okay, that's fine. But if you're a team that fancies yourself a Super Bowl caliber team, you have to take care of this game. Like, there's no excuses here.
Well, and the season won't be over if they lose, but if they lose this weekend, the rest of the schedule, you just view it through a different lens, right?
Absolutely.
You're like, okay, well, if you couldn't get this one.
The gimmies are over after this week. Not that this week's a gimme, because there are no gimmies for the Packers, but it gets harder, not easier from here.
And they've blown a couple relative gimmies. It's the NFL, but like they've blown too many super winnable games to be, throwing away good opportunities now. So go ahead.
That's why when you lose a game like you did Monday night, if they had beaten the Browns, if they had beaten the Panthers, it's just different. When you lose a game like that, losing the gimmies too really add up.
Yeah.
They amplify everything else. It's just such a different world if you had just taken advantage of the games you're supposed to win on your schedule.
Well, and then, if you feel better about the team and the season as a whole, well, then Monday night, it's like, wow, how about those defenses, huh? Like just defensive battle. But because you've already lost a couple games and your offense has already been looking bad, it's hard to view a game that way. So it's a matter of perception.
3 losses when the defense is giving 16 points or less. That's a trend.
Yep.
It's not just a one-off. It just changes the whole perspective.
These things start to stack up a little bit. Well, Ryan, we look forward and we'll follow all your coverage this weekend. Enjoy your trip out to New York. Hopefully it's a get-right game. Everybody needs it.
All right, take care.
Have a great weekend. Safe travels to Ryan Wood. His coverage, PackersNews.com. Thanks again to Lacrosse Beer House. They bring us Ryan every Friday and just support the show in general, but specifically, it's just great to have Ryan on the show once a week on top of what we get from Mike Clemens. I'm going to take a quick break. We got a couple of you on hold. I promise I'll get to your Packers phone calls right after this.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
I see they traded for Michael Parsons, and they already had a good defensive end in Gary. I feel like number 95, Wyatt, is a great defensive lineman, a productive offense. But their defense is a true bend but don't break defense. I think this is one of the fastest defenses that we've seen in terms of how they run to the football. They're high energy. And they're very sound. And as a defense, when you know what you're doing, you can, rep the plays that you have seen against you the whole year and play fast and play together.
It's Jameis Winston when asked about, hey, what do you see with this Packers team? It's some good sound bites, courtesy of Mike Clemens. At 5 o'clock, I want to pick up where Mike Clemens left off last night. It's my big picture conversation that I want to start. And I've been saving it for hour number 2. We got loaded phone lines all of a sudden to talk Packers. So let's get to them. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Eric on 90.
Good evening, Eric. I don't know if you've ever bat leadoff before. Certainly, it's rare. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I'm executing a jet sweep here out on I-90.
I'm going to be doing that later tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. You gotta be careful not to self-inflict, a mistake.
Of course, yeah.
In a situation.
Yep.
You got to make the turn at the right time. You're in an awkward position.
Correct.
So you got to focus.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're looking at here. I really like the self-inflicted. Self-inflicted should be reserved for like gunshot wounds. Otherwise they're just a mistake.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're 100% right. And you got to love Jameis Winston, man. That guy, he is just, as far as characters in the NFL goes, he's one of the top ones. So we'll just see how it goes. You guys should get right on this game. You should get right.
We should.
And, one of the things that you may want to ask LaFleur is, if you got a struggling offensive line, why are you splitting out an offensive line into the slot? I don't know. You're right. I mean,
like as a tight end?
Yeah. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Stop with the trickery.
So, okay. So that's an interesting point. And Eric, I just got a bunch of people to get to. I appreciate it. They didn't split him out. He just lined up as a tight end. It was basically an extra offensive lineman, but they line up as a tight end because I guess that's how it's aligned. I actually liked it. That seemed to help a good amount. It just overcomplicated things a little bit for the way that Bo Melton had to align, who mostly hasn't really played wide receiver. He hasn't played corner either. He just hasn't played that much on either side of the ball. So it's not like he's been starting at corner every game and they flipped him over. It's been more Malik Heath or Savion Williams. So there wasn't much of that. And I can't remember the other thing you said, Eric. Whatever it was really good, and I'm sure I'll remember it. I had a thought on it, and I just can't remember what it was. His jet sweep onto I-90. I can't remember. Sorry, Eric. But no, they weren't splitting them out. It was just like a jumbo package. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Fins are up.
Fins are up, Vagabond. What's going on?
2 quick things. One, there are a lot of jobs out there that have a really small margin of error, right? Like if you mess up and you're a pilot, right? Like you're fired.
Radio
right? You mess
hosts.
up, you're a cop out there.
Yeah.
Radio hosts, I mean, I've heard,
I'm being a smart
in
ass.
that morning show.
Surgeons.
They get wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think football coaches are right up there in the NFL, right? These players are putting in so much work and they have so much pressure on them. They're the ones out there actually doing this. To hear Matt LaFleur make a formation issue that, like, if you're coaching JV2 up in Wanakee on Saturday mornings, like, your ass is getting chewed up by somebody if you call it wrong formation, right? And, like, to hear a head coach in the NFL say, like, oh, yeah, I called that for a guy that's doing a new position, yeah, we kind of missed that one. I didn't realize we never practiced that. Like, that's something that would be unacceptable in Wanakee, let alone the NFL. And let me tell you, those Wanakee formations, we talked about it before as a ref, what a nightmare. I have no idea what's legal, what's not. They'll put you to the test, especially the JV guys. Point number 2, I think Adam Wood, I disagree with the one thing. This is absolutely, without a doubt, a must-win game. And it's not the season's over.
Yeah.
But you absolutely start to lose your own control of your own destiny if you lose this game. Yeah. Look, the rest of the schedule, 5 divisional games, a trip to Denver, and a big game versus a Lamar Jackson-led Ravens team that's going to be trying to do exactly what the Packers did, i.e. RELAX season, and really make a run for the playoffs. And, yeah, I think we got a tough schedule. If you lose against this, Giants team with a bunch of injuries, you lose control of your destiny. So that's not where we thought this Packers team would be just a couple of weeks ago. So inexcusable error from Matt LaFleur, right in line with your long-form take of he makes football harder than it needs to be. And, yeah, got to win this game.
So I do love that take. That's an Aaron Rodgers take, not a LaFleur take. I don't know. I think Matt LaFleur just bricked it. I just think he messed it up. I don't think he was trying to big brain it. I just think he misspoke or he didn't call the play correctly based on – and what a great breakdown from Ryan Wood, by the way. Like, if you want to understand what went wrong on that play, he laid it out in more detail than I. So I'm really glad that we had that. This is a must-win game because Xavier McKinney says it is. And if the players in that locker room believe that this is a must-win game and then they lose, well, how are you supposed to come out on Monday then and be like, no, we're all good? I just don't think that's how it works. All right, let's go Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, this is Mad Max from the Racine Tunnels.
Hey,
Happy
man.
Friday.
Happy Friday, Max. What's going on?
Hey, yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to call in earlier this week and talk about the game, but, it's been a busy week in the tunnels with activity increasing again with the government shutdown over. But anyways, I don't need to get too much into the dealings of the Racine cabal today, but I just wanted to say, like, with the Packers, my frustrations with the dialogue and discourse lately has been, it's like being a Packers fan is like being a fan of an SEC football team. Because you know how no SEC football team has ever lost a hypothetical game to a Big Ten school or any other inferior conference. And then when bowl season and the playoffs do roll around and an SEC team does lose to someone from that conference, there's always an excuse from SEC state media, just like there always is from Packers state media. Oh, well, what if we just didn't shoot ourselves in the foot,
of course,
20 million times a game. And what if, and just like our guys, just like this SEC team didn't care about this bowl game. It was beneath them playing in the Outback Bowl or whatever. And just, it's just like we hear all these hypotheticals, all these, just doing this, so they did more of this, but it's just frustrating that we never see it enough. Have a good weekend, Grant. Thanks for taking my call as always.
You as well, Matt. That's a really good call. SEC state media. That's why I'm pushing back on the wording of self-inflicted errors. They're just mistakes. They're not like shooting yourself is a self-inflicted wound. That's like the only one. The only self-inflicted error. That's just an error. You just messed up. Like if I show up late to work and there's dead air for an hour because no one is here to press a button and turn Bill up, which is 90% of my job. Don't tell anyone. I don't really do all that much. If I show up late and the station is silent and my boss comes in here and I go, boss, I just got to cut out the self-imposed mistakes. It's like, it's not a self-imposed mistake. You just slept in. So I don't know. The wording is starting to get on my nerves because at a certain point, if you do all this stuff every week, you're just not a good team. You're not an elite team that shoots itself in the foot. You're not a good shot. You're just a bad team. 608-321-1670. West Coast Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, it's Coach Freed here on 94 West.
Hey, Coach Freed. How's it going out on 95? I think Mad Max it sounded like he was going 80 miles an hour there. I could hear him accelerating.
As someone who's been in the car with him, I would not be surprised one bit.
Okay. All right. Well, what's going on, Coach?
But I just wanted to call in and share how jealous I am of Ebo this weekend. To my understanding, he's going to be shaking hands and kissing babies with the boosters down in Bloomington.
It sounds like it. Yeah, he was on some sort of a charter plane with Badgers higher-ups, I guess, today.
Wow.
I don't think he's being wooed. He was invited to be part of the group of someone who is being wooed.
Still, that's an opportunity of a lifetime, and he's going to be in a great environment. He's going to see a great game that I think Vegas is going to be wrong here, and it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
So I would love to think that, Coach. I just feel like I'm going to let you go, and we got one more caller here. Other than I want that to be the case, why? Like, Indiana just had a close call against Penn State. I don't know. I just don't see it. I hope so. 2 great young freshman linebackers that's not a recipe for anything other than to win a close game at home in the rain. They still don't have a quarterback who can throw, by the way. That seems kind of important in this match. Like, hey, can you go on the road to Bloomington and beat a team that's coming off a close win? Thing number one, I'd be like, okay, do you have a quarterback that can complete a forward pass? No? Ugh. I don't feel great. But, Coach Freed, you have been right before about games being closer. But then again, if you say it every week. All right, one more call here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
You know who it is.
Simpson of 95.7
Yeah.
Rock. How are you
Of
today?
course. I'd be better if you were talking about Thursday Night Football and the Patriots' dominant win over the Jets.
I only saw the fourth quarter of your Patriots, but Drake May continues to be very good.
He's the MVP.
I think he might be right now.
Say it. Say it.
Well, I haven't checked the odds. He was
Say it out loud.
He was third.
Okay.
Drake May is the MVP. He was third in odds before Tampa. And the Tampa Bay win was pretty big. Last night, I mean, they did what they expected, right? They covered too, which I finally got a pick right. Thank God.
God, I can't believe you got to talk about these Packers. They suck. They're not even going to make the playoffs.
Oh, they're much more interesting than the Patriots. Yeah, Drake May's the MVP favorite right now. What are the Patriots? They beat another bad team. The Packers. I mean, this is juicy. This is good radio.
Hey, the Patriots beat everybody who's in front of them 8 straight. You can't beat who you don't play. So, I mean.
I am aware. I'm passing through your town this weekend, by the way.
We want to go to Winona? Is that the deal?
I am passing through. You doing anything on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm going to watch the Packer game at the helm like I always do. If you want to do a potluck, let's do it. Don't ditch me like you did last time for some girl.
Okay, so here's the problem. I'm going to let you go. Thank you, Simpson. Here's the problem. I had plans with friends in Winona 2 weekends ago, and I didn't know how long the plans would go. So I texted Simpson, who I join every Tuesday on 95.7 The Rock Mornings, also up in Eau Claire on the X. I texted him and I just felt it out. Hey, do you have anything going on Sunday? Because I don't know if we're doing anything. On the off chance that the weekend ended soon and I'm already on that side of the state, I might as well go see Simpson. And then we had stuff going on. So if I turned him into my backup plan, I guess guilty. But I'm a radio producer, so I make plans and then backup plans for those plans. The helm for the Packer game sounds pretty bitchin', though. I will say. Especially if people bring, like, hot beefs, little table in the back room. Okay, all right. Twist my arm. Maybe I'll see you Sunday, Simpson. All right, we'll wrap up hour number 1. Coming back. More of your phone calls, and I'll get to your texts on the other side. A couple minutes before 5 o'clock, that'd be perfect. I'll get to your text next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. A couple minutes here before we pause at 5 o'clock. We'll get Zach's update in. I got a beefy topic for you after 5 o'clock, courtesy of Mike Clemens. He dropped a good content bomb at about 5:58 last night, which, happy to have it. We'll just roll it over until today. But it was probably the best topic of the show, and we didn't have any time to really sink our teeth into it. A couple of texts here. Perfect time to get a couple miscellaneous comments. Bobby and Menominee going back to 4 o'clock, I believe when I compared Matt LaFleur to other coaches, his peers, says, can we stop comparing people to Andy Reid? Andy Reid has no morals and will employ the worst people imaginable. His own son handicapped a 5-year-old drunk driving. He employed people that should be rotting in prison like Vic, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, racist Rice, etc. I don't know what to do with that. To the tweets. Maybe this will be better. Mike Oxlong tweets in. Says, if they lose this game, they'd be 5-4-1. Don't be R-word. Can we chill with that? It's not a must win. Says, if the players say it's a must win, then it must be. These are early 20-somethings. Use your brain. Come on. Do you guys really think that everything will just be hunky-dory, status quo, business as usual come Monday if they're 5-4-1 and they lose to interim coach Mike Kafka and Jameis Winston? Like, it's not a must win. Okay, they really need to win. Is that wording more appropriate for you, Mike Oxlong? I swear, it's not a must win. The season doesn't end if they lose. Guys, that's not the... Oh, my God. Some of you are just not cut out for the sports radio thing, I swear. No, the season will not end if they lose Sunday. I am closer to thinking that Matt LaFleur should be fired if they drop to 5-4-1 than I am to thinking it'll be fine. The season's not over. It's closer to the other thing. I don't think he should be fired, but I would be closer to that than thinking it's not a big deal. Firstly, I think Josh Jacobs already sounded pretty peeved in the locker room this week. Xavier McKinney already has come out and said, yeah, we need to win Sunday. So it's not that Xavier McKinney's word is gospel. It's if these players think we can't lose Sunday and they lose, I'm curious as to what the reaction will be. And the vibe in the locker room and at practice then rolls over to the next week, and the schedule's about to get a lot harder and much more important. It's all divisional games at Denver and Lamar Jackson. Good luck with that. Hour 2 right after Zach's update. Stick around.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Giants going to be without quarterback Jackson Dart and a number of other key players when they face off against the Packers on Sunday. But Coach Matt LaFleur says what's happening with the other team's players or a long injury list for them doesn't make him feel any better about his own group's chances.
I mean, no, not at all. I think it's more, as you guys have seen, I mean, we have to take care of our own problems, our own business. It's less about the opponent. It's more about like what we have to do to show improvement. And that's always the mindset. Hopefully, I think we've had a couple good days of practice, a good days of work, and now it's up to us to go out there and perform.
Packers dealing with their own injury issues, though Nate Hobbs, the only player listed as out for the game. Matthew Golden, Lucas Van Ness, Savion Williams are listed as questionable. Again, it'll be the Packers and Giants at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. Kick set set for noon. Packers trying to avoid a third straight loss. Turning to Wisconsin, they headed to Bloomington today. So they'll take on Indiana tomorrow. Hoosiers unbeaten, ranked number 2 in the country, favored by 28.5 points on Wisconsin. Second biggest spread for the Hoosiers against a Big Ten team in at least the last 20 years. Kick tomorrow is set for 11 a.m.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As a proud sponsor of the WIAA, Rural Mutual roots for all of Wisconsin's student athletes. Whether they're a hometown hero or they dream of the national spotlight, sportsmanship keeps Wisconsin strong. Visit ruralmutual.com/WIAA to learn more about how they support high school athletics.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs going to look to get back on track tonight as they face off against the Hornets at Fiserv Forum. Charlotte beat Milwaukee on Wednesday night at their place. Tip tonight is at 7. And the Badgers going to get back in action on Monday when they host SIUE at the Kohl Center. Badgers looking for a 4-0 start. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Stay in the course, and you got to try to block everything out and really focus on you. And there's as much mindset and mentality to this as anything. And then I think the confidence comes from knowing you put in the work. And that's what our guys have handled this week. And that's what we've done. And so ultimately, like I said before, we got to go out and do it.
We're very capable of winning these games, beating ourselves and fundamentals and technique. And once we do that, we're going to be a really good team. For right now, we just got to get back to the basics. The way we just play, we're going to win a lot of football games.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
I hate the new Twitter DMs so much. I just need to say it again. I said it last night. I got to say it again. I hate it. It's slower. It looks worse. It's slower. It looks. And did I mention that it's slower and that it looks worse? It's encrypted. Man, I'm never running for office. No one my age will ever be able to run for office. We have too many group chats and too many Snapchats. None of us will ever be able to be elected in any role. We are all cooked. Oh, we're going to start encrypting Twitter DMs in 2025. Oh, good. We're all saved. Our privacy. There's no such thing as privacy. All right. I have a Packers thing that Mike Clemens started last night. I'm going to bring that to you in about 2 minutes here. But there's one caller on hold. I'm going to take this call, and then we're going to pause the calls for just a little bit because I need to present something that then I would like your input on. But I don't just want to make this caller sit for 20 minutes while I do that. So quickly, not quickly, we have time, but Wisco Sports Show. Who's that?
Hey, I can wait. I can call back. So I'm kind of curious to see what this topic is before I call back with my comments. If it's something good,
well,
let's hear it.
Dave, I think your call stands on its own legs. You clearly have something to say. I want to give you the floor. It's as much your show as it is mine.
Couple things. By the way, it is a must-win, people.
Thank you.
You lose Sunday, you are 3 games in a row, and how you can keep. Well, that'll just seal Goodies and Matt LaFleur. They're done. Going into Minnesota, Detroit, Denver, you're done. I mean, you can't lose Sunday, and they very well could because. But here's the better question for gamblers. I would love to see Vegas. Who's going to score more points, the Packers or the Badgers?
The Badgers do not have a quarterback who can throw. I know we're all excited after last weekend, and I hate to be the cold bucket of water. But they can't throw. You need to be able to complete a downfield pass to win a game in college football 99% of the time, let alone at Indiana.
Yeah, I guess I lost my train of thought because I can't wait to hear what the lapdog has to say. So I'll hang up and let you get to the good stuff.
Okay. All right, Dave. I appreciate the call. I believe the Packers will score more points. I'd reckon. So let's just get to it. I've been teasing this. It's not breaking news. It's not anything earth-shattering. I just think it's a great topic, and it really hits at the heart of the matter of what we've been discussing with the Packers for the last month or so. So Mike texted me yesterday, and if you missed yesterday's show, I guess I'll just read you the text again. Because why not? I could set it up. Mike texted me yesterday and said, "Hey, Grant, talk to you at 5:35 tonight. My topic for your show today is what Jordan Love still needs to learn that Favre and Rodgers did at this point of their career." And what he's saying is he doesn't need to learn what Favre and Rodgers did. He needs to take a step that Favre and Rodgers took at this point of his career that they had taken in their career. You understand what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I keep talking around this. This is about 90 seconds of what Clemens said last night. And it sets up the conversation that I want to have.
You've heard the story when Brett Favre years later said he'd been the starting quarterback of the Packers for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And finally he turns to Ty Detmer and says, Ty, what's this nickel thing that they keep talking about?
Yep.
And Ty says, Brett, you're kidding, right? No. What do they mean by nickel defense? Well, and then he explains to him, well, they bring in a corner, they take out a linebacker, they've got 5. And then Favre's reaction was that all there is? I mean, is that it? That's what it's all about. I mean, he played in 20 games before he really understood what Holmgren was saying about a nickel defense.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to 2010, and a story that Aaron Rodgers told us later on, and then Mike McCarthy was asked about it. He had been the starting quarterback for 2 years. And finally, going through kind of a slump on the offense, he went to McCarthy and said, look, man, I don't get what you're doing. I don't get your thought process. I need more time. And McCarthy said, okay, fine. How about Thursdays at 3? Okay. And then later McCarthy would say, Jesus, man, Aaron kept me in there sometimes till 5:30, 2.5 hours. But it's because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to ask these questions in front of the quarterback's coach, the backup. He needs to be one-on-one with this guy. Slow down and explain to me exactly why you would call this play after that play, or why you think this play works on this side. And he became a sponge at that. And then he totally clicked and understood where McCarthy was going with his series of play callings, or what his philosophies were, and they won a damn Super Bowl.
Okay, so Mike gave you some good specifics, and I think we all know the story about how Brett didn't even know what a nickel defense was, right? What Mike is sharing here is a moment that Favre and Rodgers had, both in their third year as a starter, where they started to hit some speed bumps, or they started to hit some potholes. And they got with their head coach, or they got with their quarterback coach, or they both made a conscious effort to say, okay, we need to lock in a little bit here. And for Favre, that was, understanding maybe some words and some phrases and some football language that maybe up until that point he hadn't. And with Rodgers, it was, okay, McCarthy, I really, you got to help me out here. Help me understand why you're calling what you're calling. You need to understand how I'm perceiving it so then we can work better as a duo. And I think the phenomenon with both Favre and Holmgren and Rodgers and McCarthy and LaFleur and Love, this is what has happened. Favre took over and the talent was instantly there. And on some level, it clicked right away. And the same with Rodgers, right? And I think we saw it with Love as well. And we probably would have saw it to a greater degree last year had he been a little bit more mobile and not banged up. I don't know that for sure. Just I feel like that's a reasonable thing to at least consider. I think when a young quarterback comes into the league who's talented, it's pretty easy for them to pop, assuming their coach isn't a total Nimrod and they have somewhat of a supporting cast around them. And I think we saw that with CJ Stroud. We saw it with Jaden Daniels. We've seen that with lots of young quarterbacks where they right away they pop and you're wondering, like, is this like, is he him? Is this all like, is this going to be one of the new top tier quarterbacks? And some of them go on to do that. And then lots of them over the next year, 2 or 3 kind of fall by the wayside. They get banged up, or all of the defensive coordinators around the league start to figure out what makes the guy click and what makes the offense click. Opposing defensive coordinators in a league that's so schematic. You have these assistant coaches and these coordinators holed up in dark film rooms all offseason, poring over every inch of every game. What is it about Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury that was so difficult to stop last year? What was it with Bobby Slowick and CJ Stroud that no one could figure out? What was it with, fill in the blank, any young quarterback, an offensive coordinator or coach that popped right away in the league? Then you come back in year 2 and year 3, and you have some answers for some of this stuff. And the coach and the quarterback, who at that point had just kind of been flying along, start to hit some speed bumps and start to hit some potholes. And I think with Favre, the talent was so immense, he would just make enough good throws. And Holmgren was such a good coach. And honestly, I think more so than maybe most head coach quarterback pairings in NFL history, was such a great fit for Favre in the same way that Reed is such a great fit for Mahomes. And we've talked about this. Like Favre made enough good throws and Holmgren made enough good calls where for the first year or two, they could just kind of fly along and it didn't have to be perfect. But at a certain point, every defensive coordinator starts to get a beat on you and you can't just fly by on talent and playmaking or play calling. And I think that same thing happened with Rodgers and McCarthy as well. And I think you could probably say a lot of the same things about Love and LaFleur through 2.5 seasons. Now, Love got off to a pretty slow start his first year, but that was a really young team, too. It's not like he came into Rodgers came in when he first took over. There's a pretty experienced, established group of receivers and always good O-lines, right? And Love's O-line has always been pretty good. This is probably the weakest that he's been behind. But Love came in surrounded by a bunch of kids. They were all kind of figuring it out together. But by the end of the year, they figured it out. And what you saw with Love is he can make all of these unbelievable throws, especially off script or off balance. And LaFleur is a good enough play caller where he would scheme enough guys open where I don't know that it always mattered whether Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur were perfectly dialed in with each other because Love would make enough throws. LaFleur would scheme enough guys open, right? It would just be like blindfold throwing darts. Like when the quarterback's always making big throws and the coach is always scheming guys open, you close your eyes and throw a bunch of darts at the board. A bunch of them are going to hit. And especially when the team's hot and the momentum is there, that was enough to do what they did in 2023. And just based off like a good baseline level of talent last year, the same was true. I think this year, opposing defensive coordinators and teams have really figured out, okay, we got to put a lid on Jordan Love. We're not going to give up any big plays because he's going to be looking for it the whole time. And we're going to force this offense to move low and slow. Opposing defensive coordinators really got a good beat on what it is that LaFleur and Love like to do. And if Love and LaFleur are going to continue to grow together and to take the next step, execute at a really high level, consistently beat good teams, win multiple playoff games in a row, they're going to have to reach another level together, the way that Favre and Holmgren did, the way that Rodgers and McCarthy did. And I don't know exactly what that looks like. Maybe that's, as Mike's shared with Rodgers and McCarthy, maybe that's an extra hour or two together every day after everyone goes home. Okay, well, now we're going to sit down and work on some stuff. Maybe that's extra reps, this or that. I don't know what that looks like. Whatever works for them. But I think Love and LaFleur have been getting by, as many young quarterbacks and coaches do. Hey, I'm a good quarterback. I'll make enough throws. You scheme enough guys open and we'll be good. In the big picture, we'll get by. We'll win enough games. And if we get lucky and we get hot, we might just go on a little bit of a playoff run like the Packers did, like the Commanders did. CJ Stroud and the Texans. Did they win one playoff game? I can't even remember. Right? I'm just throwing you some recent examples. I think if these two want to take the next step, consistently beat elite teams and win multiple playoff games in a row, they need to be speaking more of the same language. They need to be more aligned. And they're not right now. And I think the place in which that's most evident is in the 2-minute. Because in the 2-minute, you don't have time to dick around in the huddle, on the headset. You don't have time to dick around at the line of scrimmage, moving, looking, scanning, LaFleur signals. You don't have time. It needs to be seamless. And it almost needs to be unspoken. The quarterback needs to be, as soon as one play is finishing, the quarterback almost needs to think, okay, I know what the coach is going to want to do here. And at the same time, the coach is already thinking, I know what my quarterback's going to want here. And as the play call is coming in, the quarterback already needs to be thinking, okay, but based on this situation, I might need to do that. Like, it needs to be natural. It needs to be fluid, seamless. And that's most important, again, in the 2-minute. And I think that's where the Packers have been at their worst. And you really see that it's clunky and it's not fast enough, or it's rushed, it's too fast, and it's disjointed and it's uncomfortable. Guys can't get lined up correctly. The defense knows what play is coming and the quarterback runs it anyway. Stuff like that. So I think if you need evidence that the connective tissue isn't there between Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, just look at the 2-minute. Look at the Browns game. Look at the Cowboys game in overtime when, they marched it down, but it's like, guys, are you even looking at the clock? Do you have any understanding of the state of this game and the flow of this game? Look at the Eagles game the other night. Like, it's just not clicking, or it's not clicking on a high enough level. And that's something that Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur have to figure out. Do you think Jordan Love is, honestly, I'll ask you. It's rhetorical, but like, do you think Jordan Love is a bad quarterback? I don't. I don't know that he's elite, but I don't think he's bad. He's some level of good. And I'll ask you, do you think Matt LaFleur is a bad play designer, play caller? You may have your misgivings about him and his personality as a head coach, but do you think just for the purpose of calling plays to Jordan Love, do you think he's bad at that? I don't think you have any reasonable evidence to support that he's not. Jordan Love is good at what he does. Matt LaFleur is good at what he does. What's missing and what's really starting, I think, to be laid bare in year 3 is these two are not in their hip pocket together the way they need to be in the second or third year of a quarterback head coach pairing. Because at a certain point, defenses are going to get a beat on you, and it's not good enough to just make some good throws and scheme some guys open. It needs to be this unspoken, seamless connection where I know what you're going to call. You know that I know what you're going to call, so you're already adjusting that call, and I'm already, as I receive it, adjusting it further and figuring out based on what I see. And these two are just not at that level. I don't think it's a Jordan Love problem. I don't think it's a Matt LaFleur problem. I think it's a Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur problem as a symbiotic thing, as a pairing, the duo. It's not connected enough. And I don't know how they better that. If it's more time at the facility together, just hashing out things, if it's watching film together, I don't know. But Mike gave you an example of how Favre and Holmgren figured that out, and then a later example of how Rodgers and McCarthy figured it out. And I think if this team is going to be any better than we've seen right now, consistently winning close games, consistently beating good teams, and winning multiple playoff games in a row, that part of it's got to get better, the connective tissue between quarterback and play caller. Very quick 3-minute break, and I'll get to your phone calls right on the other side.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. I will waste no time. We'll get right back to your phone calls here. 608-321-1670. Line number 1, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Ridge Runner Mark, how are we doing, sir?
I am excellent, Ridge Runner. Good evening. Happy Friday.
Happy bleeping Friday. So to expound on your idea about the Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love connection and communication, the first thing I want to say is I don't know that Jordan Love truly trusts his instincts or understands how to win ugly.
Okay.
He doesn't know how to do off-schedule plays, or he doesn't trust that, I need to do this, and he gets caught in between. You think of the when he got sacked and he lost the ball. He got caught in between making a decision. And I think LaFleur doesn't quite understand. He's got to basically sit down with him and say, why didn't you do this? Let's figure out what is comfortable for you. Just to your point, they need to be able to communicate. But I think overall, the Packers, including Jordan Love, they don't know how to win ugly. They're in these close games. I mean, literally 2 or 3 plays could have changed that game, and the Packers would have won. But they don't know how to do it. And I think they need to do it once, and they'll start to be able to build on that. They've certainly come back in the past. But this year, it seems like these close, ugly games where they don't feel like they're in sync, they can't figure out how to win ugly. And I think it does speak to that communication and that, in each other's hip pocket, as you say.
Yeah.
But I think overall, the rest of the team has the same problem.
Yeah, and it could be led by Matt LaFleur. That's a great call, Ridge Runner Mark. Like maybe Matt LaFleur has to sit him down and say, okay, here's some issues that we're having, and we need to work through these things. It doesn't have to be what Mike described with Rodgers, where he goes to McCarthy and says, hey, I need you to help me with this stuff. It can be led by Matt LaFleur too. It's got to be led by somebody though, because those two have to work through some things. Matt LaFleur said earlier this week, yeah, I sometimes Jordan Love checks out of passing plays into running plays, and I don't like it when he does that, right? I think Jordan Love isn't trusting what he sees right now. And the other thing is he's such a rhythm player, such a rhythm thrower. Like we saw it in Pittsburgh. Like if he just does a good quarter, I think the offense just starts cruising in a way that we haven't seen these last 2 games. It's funny. We spent the first 2 months of the season talking about how they can't win big. And I think the bigger problem is, and we discussed this yesterday and the day before, they haven't been able to win one of these close, ugly games. And you need to be able to win close, ugly games to stack enough wins in the regular season to win a division, to host a playoff game. And if you're going to win a Super Bowl, there's going to be an ugly game or 2 in there, even if you're one of the best teams of like a decade. Like Philly was a juggernaut last year. They had to win kind of ugly against the Packers and kind of ugly against the Rams. They blew the doors off the Chiefs, but a couple of NFC games, like it was a little uglier. They had to work through some things. Not to say that it was close at the end, but it was ugly. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, happy Friday. Fins up.
Fins up, Cone. Welcome. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you. Just doing some house chores, getting ready for the future in-laws to visit this weekend. So,
first time?
Appreciate you keeping me busy.
First time they're visiting?
No, Grant. I've asked for this girl's hand in marriage. I've definitely met her parents before.
I forget. You're a transplant. I don't. Her family might live out there, so maybe a silly question. All right, I'm just checking. I'm covering my bases.
To this Clemens point you're talking about, to me it seems Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love on their own, maybe either of them are not good enough to help elevate the other.
Okay. This is
like you said, it's on Jordan Love is a rhythm player. It is on Matt LaFleur to get him in a rhythm. We've seen that before. We haven't seen it consistently enough, and that's a Matt LaFleur shortfall. I mean, look at their first drive stats from this year.
Brutal.
They're horrible, and that's the scripted stuff, as Coward always says.
Yeah, that's the scripted stuff. That's the stuff that's supposed to look good, and that's been the worst stuff the last couple of weeks. And it's probably more incumbent on Matt LaFleur to get his quarterback in a rhythm than many others because Jordan Love is such a rhythm player. The idea that neither one is quite good enough to elevate the other is interesting. I still think, though, they should. I'm not asking for one to carry the other. I don't know. I need to think more about this. My brain's in a pretzel.
You got 3 C's for Sunday's game?
I am confident in the Packers defense. I am concerned with their ability to run the ball because everybody says, well, if they can't run the ball this weekend, when are they going to be able to run it? Well, we've said that before. So and I am curious if this will be Matthew Golden's first big game. I feel like it's looming.
It's looming. You read that article about Savion Williams usage. Give it to Matthew Golden, please.
Yeah.
We said the first round pick on this guy. Use him.
And he's good at the stuff but here's the thing, Cone. I appreciate the call. And yeah, maybe a stupid question. I don't know. You live in Arizona. So I've been told. So I don't know. You've met your in-laws. I'm not doubting that. I don't know, maybe a stupid question. Sorry. You know what? Sorry. I like to get on a personal level with some of my callers, Cone. I know you were whatever. Matthew Golden was drafted because they needed a trustworthy guy who can get open and catch the ball. And he's gotten open and caught every ball that's come his way. So, do that thing. Do the thing that you drafted him to do. Use him in the way that you drafted him to use him. So that would be my curious. If we're talking 3 C's, I am confident in the defense. I think they're feeling great right now. And if they lose this weekend, I'm going to start to worry. But I'm confident in the defense. I am concerned with the running game because they just haven't been able to run. And everyone says, well, if they can't run this weekend, they'll never be able to run. Well, we've said that before. And confident curious, I should say, in Matthew Golden, because at some point it's got to happen. And why not this weekend? 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, this is John from Holman.
Hey, John, what's going on?
Oh, nothing.
Good.
One thing that's never been talked about is Malik Willis.
Okay.
He throws a much better ball than Jordan Love. Jordan Love puts way too much air underneath deep balls.
He does.
And if you watch Malik, his are more of a, straight line arrow.
Yeah.
Why doesn't LaFleur open things up and say, hey, okay, we're going to, bring in Malik and start to move this ball downfield further. They can, shuffle things around a little bit.
You want to use both? You want to replace Jordan Love with Malik Willis? What specifically do you want, John?
Use them both. You have them. Obviously, he was a starting quarterback somewhere else before.
Mm-hmm.
It can't hurt. It can only make things better.
Well, oh my God, it couldn't hurt right now. Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's what we were saying with the Badgers too. It's like, well, send Carter Smith out there. It can't hurt. The weird thing is, John, I'm gonna let you go. I'll build on this a little bit for the next couple minutes before we take our break. The weird thing is Matt LaFleur is calling a lot of plays like he has Malik Willis at quarterback right now. And that's not it's not an exaggeration. That's not this is literally how he called games last year when Malik Willis played against the Colts. And what was the other team that he beat early on in the year? I can't remember. They beat the Colts and another AFC South team. He entered in the Jags game and won that game, but it was the Colts and Anthony Richardson. What are the Titans? Yeah, the Titans. Oh, that's funny. Very, very limited downfield passing plays. A lot of running on first and second down. Matt LaFleur is running so often on early downs, neutral down and distances, meaning if the types of plays where the whole playbook is open, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, you know what I mean? 3rd and long is a passing down. So you can script it that way. But 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, these are neutral downs and distances, meaning in theory, the whole playbook should be open. And it's a reflection of what the coach wants to do. Whereas, if you look at, a bunch of 3rd and 8s, there's going to be a lot of passing plays. That's not a reflection of the head coach. That's a reflection of the nature of the game. I don't know why I have the hiccups right now. Excuse me. Neutral downs and distance, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, those types of things. When in theory, the play call is a true reflection of what the head coach wants to do and not born out of necessity of the situation. Matt LaFleur is running the ball a ton. It's like he has Malik Willis out there. And I'm not someone who thinks that Jordan Love has been neutered or that Matt LaFleur doesn't trust him or that he's holding him back. I just think that this is how Matt LaFleur has decided to run his offense for one reason or another. I think he believes we have to run the ball. There's no path to success this year if we can't run the ball. And he's probably true. But as you figure out how to run the ball, try to win some games in the meantime, man. And if you got to throw to win on this Sunday tonight, you have to win tonight, then you have to throw tonight. Okay. And He's calling plays, John. Thank you for the call from Holman. He's calling plays like Malik Willis is under center. Malik Willis throws more zip when he throws deep. I don't know that he's more accurate or a better decision maker or has better vision. I think he has shortcomings. The Malik Willis discourse is always kind of fun. Better from you, John, than Tony in Texas. He's normally our Malik Willis correspondent. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we can talk more Packers after this. We'll continue this next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
You've heard the story when Brett Favre years later said he'd been the starting quarterback of the Packers for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And finally he turns to Ty Detmer and says, Ty, what's this nickel thing that they keep talking about?
Yep.
And Ty says, Brett, you're kidding, right? No. What do they mean by nickel defense? Well, and then he explains to him, well, they bring in a corner, they take out a linebacker, they've got five. And then Favre's reaction was that all there is? Is that it? That's what it's all about. I mean, he played in 20 games before he really understood what Holmgren was saying about a nickel defense.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to 2010, and a story that Aaron Rodgers told us later on, and then Mike McCarthy was asked about it. He had been the starting quarterback for 2 years. And finally, going through kind of a slump on the offense, he went to McCarthy and said, look, man, I don't get what you're doing. I don't get your thought process. I need more time. And McCarthy said, okay, fine. How about Thursdays at 3? Okay. And then later McCarthy would say, Jesus, man, Aaron kept me in there sometimes till 5:30, 2.5 hours. But it's because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to ask these questions in front of the quarterback's coach, the backup. He needs to be one-on-one with this guy. Slow down and explain to me exactly why you would call this play after that play, or why you think this play works on this side. And he became a sponge at that. And then he totally clicked and understood where McCarthy was going with his series of play callings, or what his philosophies were, and they won a damn Super Bowl.
One more time for good measure, Mike Clemens last night. I just think Love and LaFleur as a duo, that's what's underwhelming right now. I don't think Love has prevented them from winning games. I don't think Matt LaFleur has prevented them from winning games. I think it's the connection, or lack thereof, from the pair. That's been the problem. Just look at the 2-minute. Think of a football situation where it's more important for head coach and quarterback to be in each other's hip pocket. Seamless, right? 2 minutes, it. That's when everything's got to be bang, 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 bang. I need to be thinking what you're thinking before you think it, and vice versa. Quarterback, head coach. And they've just been so poor in late game situations with the clock ticking down. And I don't think it's just on Love. I don't think it's just on LaFleur. I think it's the being the both of them together, right? Coyote Mike texts in, and by the way, I'll take more of your phone calls. 608-321-1670. Says, Grant, I rewatched Packers-Eagles. You're a better man than me. Banks actually had 3 false starts. He was only flagged for 1 within 18 minutes of the game's beginning. The third really cost him. The broader thought is, does Ed Policy offer an extension to Matt LaFleur or not? If he doesn't, then Matt LaFleur's lame got head coach, which he says he's not going to do. So Matt LaFleur's either going to get canned or extended at the end of this year. If he does, then next year is a duplicate. I'm not going to read the rest of your message because Coyote Mike, he's said that he's not going to do that. On Aaron Banks, this is Aaron Banks. Mike Clemens shared this with us earlier today on why the run game has been off.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to crack the lid off, man. We got to crack the lid off. We got to be more aggressive. We got to finish our blocks better, and just get to the point of attack and make dudes, stop us. We got to make people stop us. We can't give them freebies. We can't have false starts on 4th and 1. Speaking about myself, those are drive stoppers. Those kill drives. So we just gotta be better. Like I don't really know how else to put it other than like as a total, we have to be more fundamentally sound. We have to be more aggressive. We need to finish better. We just need to be better overall.
On that false start, what happens on that play? Is it?
No, I just had a bad moment. I thought we were gonna go quick cadence and we didn't, and I anticipated it, and I just wanted to move him off the ball, and it cost us. So I take full responsibility for that. That's me, nobody else.
By the way, the early part of that game where it was just a big back and forth between who could false start and get away with it. I'm just so over it. And it's the fault of the tush push. Maybe it's not the fault of the tush push. It's the fault of the officials who have clearly just given up on caring how it's officiated. Like, line up offside, jump offside. We don't care. So then Packers fans get mad at that. And then Aaron Banks leaves a little early on a quarterback sneak. Not a tush push, just a good old-fashioned quarterback sneak. And it gets called. Well, so you call it on us and not them? It's like, this is so dumb. Meanwhile, it's 0-0. Neither team looks good. Like, this is not why I'm here. And I hate the Eagles maybe I shouldn't hate the Eagles. Maybe I should just hate the refs because it's clear that the refs are like, we want no part in this. So we're just going to, we are going to ignore our duty of actually adjudicating this play. But anyways, back to the running game. Listening to Josh Jacobs talk about it, I don't know that I've been given much confidence that it's going to get turned around. Just listening to his tone and his tenor. This is Josh Jacobs yesterday. Asked about if this is a get-back game for the running attack.
Looking at their front five, they all first-rounders. Just watching them on film, I mean, they fly around to the ball. It's something about teams that always, get a new head coach that they just play a little harder. They do things a little bit different. They take more chances. We know we're going to get a lot of unscouted looks. It's really just about us this week. I think that's the main thing I've been trying to preach to the guys, that we're going to go as far as we want to go. So it's really about us.
Josh Jacobs, how do you get the running game back on track?
It's a mentality. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a strict mentality. It's like 4-minute offense. When you up, the run is coming. Stop it. I mean, that's just what it is. But everybody has to be locked in on not only the details, but the mentality to want to go out there and be gritty and strain to the bitter end. And that's something that we got to collectively as a group figure out.
What I don't get, and we talked about this the other day, I don't understand why the Packers were so obsessed or so set on getting bigger and wider and stronger at O-line, only to still do so many gun runs. Like, if you want to get beefier on the line, cool. But then get under center. You know who's under center a lot? The Rams. Sean McVay has gone, away from a lot of these zone reads. They're running a lot of 3 tight end looks. The Packers getting more tight ends on the field, I also think would be wise considering what's going on. Justice Mosqueda wrote about this today. Acme Packing. The Packers offensive line got big. It hasn't worked. There's so much talk about the Packers O-line that I just finally wanted to collect my thoughts together on the team's recent pivot at the position. Just to paint the picture of the Packers' run game failures so we can get it out of the way, running back Josh Jacobs has 600 rushing yards this year, but only 99 of them are before contact. That's kind of insane. Until the last couple of years, the Packers are known for drafting undersized but high-quality pass-protecting college tackles on day 3. They also didn't hesitate to move those players to guard or center. The method worked because Green Bay's offensive scheme leaned into the passing game. McCarthy was viewed as innovative for transitioning the West Coast offense into shotgun at one point in his career. You have to believe me on this. And zone run schemes. This eliminated the need for 320-pound offensive linemen who needed to move 330-pound defensive tackles off the ball for gap schemes to work. The front office's ability to hammer that market inefficiency is maybe the second most important reason why the Packers have been so consistent over the last 21 years. That and quarterbacks, obviously. Pro Football Reference only has Green Bay snap counts going back to 2012, so I can't go all the way back to Thompson. What I will say is that the Packers have never had a significant full-time starter on the O-line who weighed 320 or more. Over that time, the team won a combined 120, 73, and 2, including 13 straight wins to start the LaFleur era. The type of lineman Green Bay now adds to the roster much heavier. Currently, the Packers' top 8 offensive linemen, Walker, Banks, Jenkins, Morgan, Tom, Ryan, Kennard, and Belton, average out to 320 and a half based on their combine pro day weight. Just this past year alone, Green Bay has added Belton 336, Kennard 328, Banks 325, and John Williams 322. All those players are much bigger than Bakhtiari, Lindsley, Treader, Tom, and all the day 3 steals that were once the defining trait of this franchise. And he talks and writes more about the weights. Why did the Packers get so heavy? Here's something you need to remember. Brian Gutekunst took over in 2018, LaFleur in 2019. They were both fine playing lighter lines back then. 3 of the team's 4 lightest lines since 2012. Stenovich was in his first year of the O-line coordinator, or first year as offensive coordinator in 22. Again, one of the lighter years. I don't think anyone in Green Bay got a job and say, hey, let's stop getting a lot of value out of undersized day 3 linemen. I don't think you can even pinpoint exactly who made the decision for the Packers, but here's something I know. The offensive scheme has changed in recent years. When LaFleur took over in Green Bay, the hope would be the next Sean McVay, who had found success running outside zone bootlegs off outside zones and jet sweeps. We talked about jet sweeps last night. In LaFleur's first year as head coach, the Packers led the NFL in zone rushing 70% of their handoffs. In Green Bay's most recent loss to the Eagles, I can only remember the team running outside zone twice off the top of my head, and I don't have to watch the game a third time to get this number right. A play where Aaron Banks wasn't able to line up laterally or keep up laterally, allowing Josh Jacobs to get hit in the backfield, where once Banks was unable to climb into the linebacker level. The plays I'm talking about are the first and third plays in the video below. You should go read the story. It's Acme Packing. It's really good. Running outside zone, a play that relied more on athleticism than strength, was the one way the Packers got away with playing undersized linemen in the first place. Now the team hardly ever calls the play. On the ground, they run duo, inside zone, and plays with down blocks. All of those plays rely on vertical, not lateral displacement to work. Unfortunately for Green Bay's pre-market inefficiency, vertical displacement takes much more size and strength, while lateral displacement requires more athleticism. They're getting bigger, and they're trying to run in a way that fits that, but they stink at it. This is not me reporting as a fact, Justice Wright. It's based on the changes we've seen in both talent and scheme. It's what makes most sense to me. Feel free to bring your alternative theories. I don't really get it. I don't understand it. They got bigger, they got beefier, and they changed what they were doing, and it just hasn't worked. And this is the kicker at the end of the story. Depending on your point of view, a change in voice in the offensive line room is either the exact thing this team needs or just the death rattle of an offense headed down a bad path. This is the trade-off of getting bigger on the line and wanting to run more vertical blocking schemes. The old market inefficiency is gone, and they've struck out on an expensive string. Here's the thing. If you're going to get bigger, you need to be good at it. Because previously, the Packers were great at moving laterally, and they would run outside, and they would build play action off of it. They thought, well, we'll get bigger, and we're going to drive forward instead of side to side. But they can't drive forward because none of these guys can do it. And now they have nothing. They can't go side to side because these guys are all slow laterally, but what they're supposed to be good at, they're still not good at. Banks probably most notably. I am really interested to see what Sean Ryan that looks like at center. It's not that I want Elton Jenkins to be hurt. It wasn't working. Sean Ryan at center intrigues me. You lose depth, which really hurts. But let's say, knock on wood, no one else gets hurt. I'm interested if Sean Ryan gets a refreshed mindset and he's like, oh, well, now I have a path, a job that's mine to earn, instead of this, 2-year run of rotating with Jordan Morgan to groom him to eventually take over so I can get John Runyon somewhere else. Sean Ryan might be better at center. And just settle on your right guard already at Jordan Morgan, which, again, I think Jordan Morgan will probably be better as a tackle, but they don't need a tackle right now. They need a guard that doesn't blow. And I'm not holding my breath on Banks, so that then falls on Jordan Morgan. So give him the every snap job. And Sean Ryan as the center probably can actually move people vertically, which they desperately need. Now he's going to give up something in pass pro, but they're already giving that up in pass pro. I don't know. I'm interested. Goose Egg said Sean Ryan did good at center. I thought so too. I thought the second half of the Eagles, they protected better. And part of that was maybe they were using jumbo packages. Like maybe, just maybe. Kennard playing tight end. I know it's tight end, but basically he was just the sixth offensive lineman. I think that helped too. And I give LaFleur a lot of credit for that because it almost worked until they messed up the logistics of the call. Instead of the play that was practiced, they reversed it. So Melton was actually in the right spot. Kennard was in the wrong, or vice versa. Ryan Wood did a great job explaining this in the first hour. So go back and listen. He broke down that whole play. I actually tipped my cap to LaFleur a little bit for trying some things. I think they worked, and then they just made different mistakes. Long story short, the Packers tried to adjust at O-line. It's gone horribly, but I am interested to see what Sean Ryan at center looks like because that might just give them a little bit of what they thought they would have, which is vertical displacement instead of horizontal, which they just did away with. They're like, well, we'll go up and down instead of side to side. They can no longer go side to side, but they can't go up and down on the level that they thought they were going to be able to. Final thoughts next. I'll get to some of your texts and your comments off the live stream. And of course, we'll listen to a little Jimmy Buffett because it's Friday. So fins up.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Their strategy season was mind-blowing to me because to me they got 2 left guards. You know, when I watch Anthony Bell on tape, I'm like, he could play tackle in the NFL, but I do ultimately think at his size that he is a left guard. Aaron Banks is a left guard. Well, the best player on your offensive line last year was your left guard. You know, Elton Jenkins. Now he's super versatile. And like, if you want to play left tackle or center or whatever, like he's not going to be bad. Like he's still going to be maybe your best player in your offensive line. I just couldn't believe what they did. Now, where they all play, I'm not sure, but I think it signals more to me is that they're going to change up what they want to do in the running game. Because not only did they get 2 left guards, they got 2 guys who are like big, huge dudes. You know, Aaron Banks at 325. Anthony Belton was like 345 at the Senior Bowl, which is probably where he's comfortable playing, even if he weighed 330 at the Combine. So they are people moving type of players that just go historically to Green Bay Packers and what they've covered at offensive line. They've always given up pure strength for movement skills. They've always given up guys that can move people for guys that they themselves can move. I think it signals that they want to run different run concepts. They don't want to be a stretch zone team. They want to run power. They want to run gap. They want to move the line of scrimmage and have firm pockets as opposed to guys who can more hold on and mirror.
Not only going out to Wisconsin and the great Midwest, we're going around the world tonight, Parrot Head.
Fins up. It's Friday. Last couple of minutes. I wanted to play that cut. That was from Mike Renner. When was that? Did I find the date on that? That might have been just after the draft. It might have been the summer. It might have been towards the beginning of the year, but it was early on in the season or maybe even before the season when I asked him, so Mike, they drafted Belton, they signed Banks. It's clear they want big-ass dudes, but that's never really been their thing. And you heard him in that clip. This was before the season or really before we had much evidence of what the Packers were doing. He's like, well, to me, it shows they want to run more duo. They want to more run inside zone rather than outside zone or stretch concepts, which was, more the thing they had done forever because they find this great inefficiency in the draft. We're going to find college tackles, really good linemen that are smaller. And maybe they'll be able to play tackle. We'll strike gold. And that happened a couple of times. That happened with Bakhtiari, obviously. I wouldn't say they struck gold with Bulaga. He was a first-round pick, if I remember correctly. So that was more of a traditional pick. But if they can't play tackle, we'll make them work at guard. Because the way that they ran for the longest time, guards functioned kind of like tackles in that offense anyways. They were moving laterally, and it was certainly an offensive line that was honed more in pass protection than in creating running lanes. And they found ways to run out of it anyways in the Aaron Rodgers years and even early with Matt LaFleur. This offseason, they said, well, we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to predicate our offensive line movement side to side. We want to push forward. And Luke on the Dirt Roads texted, and you're probably right. And we hypothesized this at the time, I think. says the O-line change in composition is totally about getting punched in the mouth by Philly in the playoffs last season, and maybe they just screwed it up. Maybe their plan wasn't bad. I don't think their plan was necessarily bad. We want to get bigger and we want to drive forward instead of doing what we've done for so long. And maybe that plan was a good one. I have a little bit of an issue or a little bit of a concern, fixing what's not broken. They have been one of the better teams for 15 years, consistently finding good linemen in the draft and in later rounds. Like, anybody can draft like Joe Alt in the top 5 and be great. Anyone can draft, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of examples. Not Elijah Vera Tucker. Is that the other tackle for the Chargers? It might be. Like, anyone can take the top tackle in the draft and stick him at left tackle as a rookie, and it's probably going to work. Anybody can do that thing. What the Packers have done for the longest time is consistently find high-level linemen later on in the middle or late rounds. So if the Packers are going to go away from that and they're going to go bulky, more traditional, I guess if you want to do that, that's fine. I have a little bit of an issue trying to fix what isn't broken. But if you're going to do it, it's like anything. You got to pick the right guys or sign the right guys. And Belton's story is far from finished. I don't know what he's going to be. And I don't know what they're doing with Banks. The weird thing is it's like been piecemeal. They drafted Jordan Morgan like a year and a half ago, who is Packers O-lineman through and through, athletic, skinny, lateral movement. And now they have him playing guard, sandwiched between a bunch of musk ox like Aaron Banks, who's really never been all that good. And he's been injury riddled to boot. I just, again, the strategy's not necessarily a bad one. I just don't know why they felt the need to change what was working. And also, like, you need to do a better job. You need to find better linemen. Otherwise, instead of having an O-line that's good at one thing instead of another, you're just going to have an O-line that's good at nothing. And that's kind of what it feels like right now. So I don't know. I thought Justice Escada put it nicely. It's like changing the voice in that room from Adam Stenovich might be exactly the thing that's needed, or it might just be the death rattle in what's already been going on. And you completely lose your identity in what's made you good in that room for so long. I don't know. A little bit more heady in the offensive line discussion than I thought we were going to get tonight, but sometimes that's the way the show goes. Have an excellent weekend. Genuinely interested to see how Wisconsin, Indiana goes tomorrow. I'd be surprised if it's anything but a blowout. Hey, I didn't think that it would be a blowout last weekend. I really have a hard time spinning it differently tomorrow. So enjoy the weekend. Packers-Giants is a must-win. We will react thusly on Monday. I will talk to you then at 4. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening. Always.
What can we say? Thank you all very much. You sure make a boy from Mississippi